Oh, Dallas. Dallas. Hey, look. I can give credit where credit was due. The Cowboys put on a great draft weekend. They absolutely did. And I feel like it's one of the better things Goodell has ever done. Get it out of stupid-ass Radio City Music Hall and take the draft on the road. It is such a big deal. It is such a phenomenon in and of itself as an extension of the NFL season when we are a football-starved country no matter what anybody tries to tell you. We are a football-loving country first and foremost. Go out there and get into the different cities. Get into those different markets because it just creates this whole different vibe. And you had sections of fans from every team. It was an awesome weekend. And for me personally, God, David Akers was phenomenal. Just phenomenal. And I was truly hoping when Drew Pearson came out there, I'm like, yes, it's Drew Pearson. Now this time, of course, he's not playing the heel role, but he's the babyface. But god dang it, I wanted him to heel out so bad when he's pumping up the Cowboys. You want a receiver? Yeah! You want a receiver? Yeah! You want a receiver? Yeah! Well, too damn bad you're going to draft one later because here comes Leighton Vander Esch, white boy linebacker, Boise State in your eye. God, that would have been epic. And that's the way it should have went. It shouldn't have been Goodell reading the pick. They should have just given it to Drew Pearson, and it should have went down exactly like that. Now, I'm sure amongst the Cowboys nation that there's a split here. Some fans really like Leighton Vander Esch. Other fans would have preferred a wide receiver like DJ Moore or Calvin Ridley, or maybe would have preferred addressing another position on that defense. But I really liked the Vander Esch pick. To me, it made a world of sense. I thought it was decent value. I thought it was a really good fit. And still, you're addressing the defensive side of the ball. And the Cowboys needed to address the defensive side of the ball here with that first-round pick. That's where the value was, that's where the talent was, and that's ultimately where they went. And when you look at this team, they're hoping they're going to continue to get more out of Jalen Smith. Sean Lee is very good when he's healthy. The problem is he's never healthy for an entire season. And you see how different that defense is when Sean Lee isn't on the field. So it makes a phenomenal amount of sense to find another Sean Lee type of guy, perhaps, in Vander Esch, who you feel like could stay healthy, stay on the field. Now, granted, he himself has had some durability issues, but you needed depth at the linebacking position. You might eventually have to move on from Sean Lee. Leighton Vander Esch can play, and I felt like it was a solid choice for the Cowboys in round one. You flip around to round two with all the talk about Jason Witten potentially retiring, and we found out he ultimately did. It was just weird timing to have that come out right before the draft. There was a lot of talk about them potentially targeting a tight end like Dallas Goedert with that 50th selection in round number 2, but the Eagles jumped up in front of them, trading up to 49 and taking him. So what were the Cowboys going to do at 50? Well, they took Connor Williams, the offensive lineman from Texas. This is a guy that was in a lot of people's mock drafts a year ago in the top 5 and top 10. Then he got hurt. Then the reality came through that he wasn't as long and as strong as you wanted, but there was still some talent there. And you feel like if you're getting in the NFL 2016 Connor Williams, you feel like taking him in the middle portion of round 2 could potentially be a steal. What to me Connor Williams allows them to do is put him inside at guard, which feels like maybe his better NFL position, and allows them to keep La'el Collins at one spot, specifically right tackle, and now your offensive line is complete. That's what it feels like. You got 3 studs, you got La'el Collins, you got Connor Williams. And if we're being honest here, you got 3 offensive linemen you had previously taken in the first round, a 4th offensive lineman in La'el Collins, who, yeah, he's had to bounce around the line some, but coming out of LSU before what happened, he was a first-round type of talent. And when you look at Connor Williams, there are some people, mostly media and draft types, that thought he was a first-round type of guy. So you're looking at 5 first-round type of talents on that offensive line. You're just adding strength to strength, which helps out your young quarterback, Dak Prescott, helps out your superstar running back, Ezekiel Elliott, and may, as a byproduct, help out that passing game. And, of course, they didn't ignore the passing game here entirely. Michael Gallup in round 3 from Colorado State. This pick got a big reaction from Cowboys fans, and it should have. There's some concerns about work ethic, some concerns about speed, but the guy seemed to find a way at times to get open. He could make some plays happen. He was a solid player. You're not expecting him to come in and light the world on fire and be a superstar as a third-round pick, but I do feel like he's a guy that if his head's screwed on right, he's still raw. He's still got plenty of upside to get better. I feel like this is a guy that can come in and make some contribution year one. Round 4, Dorance Armstrong Jr. Some concerns about the knee, concerns about the lack of production at Kansas in 2017, which I blame mostly on the lack of talent around him and how he was utilized. But now you bring him in as a rotational end. You know, in 2016, he showed you what he could be. If he's that as a role player, then you feel like he got good value here. I love to pick a Dalton Schultz at the end of round 4. I feel like at some point in time, it'll be him and Rico Gathers battering it out for the tight end starting position. And I feel like at some point in time, Dalton Schultz could potentially be the starter. He's a balanced, complete type of player who kind of got outshined by Bryce Love and the other tight ends that Stanford has. You got Bryce Love tearing it up in the running game and these other tight ends there. So Dalton Schultz was used primarily as a blocker, and he's a pretty good one. End of round 4, really good value. Mike White, the quarterback from West Virginia. You know, this might be unpopular to say, but you never know with Dak Prescott. And after 2 years, is he really a superstar type of guy? Is he even really a star guy? Is he more just a solid guy? Feels like he's more of a solid guy that if you put him in a good situation could play at a star level, but he's really a solid guy, and that's about it. So why not get some young depth at the position behind him? I even look at like the 7th round with Bo Scarbrough. He's a high-cut, upright running back, but this is a guy that when healthy, and that's the major problem, can be a bit of a weapon out of the backfield as a pass catcher. He could be another strong between the tackles type of runner. And shit, you took him in the 7th round. He doesn't pan out, you'll forget about it in 2 or 3 years. But he could end up being a complement to Ezekiel Elliott in that backfield. When I look at it, I thought the host team, the Dallas Cowboys, had a pretty solid draft. Most of the picks made sense. I don't really feel like they had any massive reaches anywhere. I feel like they got some good value and a couple of guys that could be potential steals. They needed to get some help in this draft, and I feel like it did. How much of a difference that'll make in 2018 remains to be seen, but I feel like on draft weekend the Cowboys did get better.